What's good, YouTube? Dorsey May Game in here, and it's early, y'all. It's real early. Just got finished doing some work, and of course, the fight was last night. And so, I know this is a gaming channel, but what I want to do, because I don't know how you could be a gamer and not watch professional sports, especially being a sports gamer. A lot of us are Madden fans. A lot of us were fans of Fight Night. I love the UFC games. I love the Fight Night games. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for us to talk about this. Now, I'm going to give my take on the fight. I'm going to give my take on everything surrounding the fight. And this is going to be another non-biased review because, number one, I'm not a fan of Conor McGregor. And number two, I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather. While I respect and I appreciate being able to witness history in a boxer setting a record, and had it been the other way around, seeing the greatest upset of sports history. So either way it go, I would have been happy. Had McGregor won, I would have been happy to experience that amazing upset. Had in the case that Floyd did win today or last night, I'm excited to be able to experience that part of history as well. So either way it go, it was a win-win for me. But I digress. So what I'm going to bring you is not pro Mayweather. It's not pro McGregor or con Mayweather, con McGregor. This is strictly non-biased. Okay. Because a lot of what I see is people who are pro Floyd, they're going to make every excuse or every reason in the book. And the same way for the McGregor fans. And also you have people, this fight is a lot more than what people think. And this fight came at a pristine time in American history. And a lot of the reason I feel like that this fight was also promoted and, supported as well as it was is because of the racial tension that's going on in this country. The whole stuff with Colin Kaepernick, the stuff with the race riot, and there's a lot of racial tension, black against white and things of that nature. So you did not only you had the true sports fans who were in support of this fight, watching this fight, but you also had a lot of outsiders come into this fight, and a lot of people who are not understanding these sports are making some of the dumbest comments because they don't understand the sport. And they're brought into the fight because of the racial thing. A lot of racial black against white type stuff going on in this nation right now. And you just so happen to have two big time fighters, one being black, one being white. So you had those that were going against Mayweather just because he's black. You had those going against McGregor just because he's white. For people who are going against Floyd because, oh, well, he's a woman beater, blase, he's paid his dues to society. For those going against McGregor because, oh, he made racial jokes to Floyd, you have to understand this. It is fighting. And in fighting, everything leading up to the fight is for you to get inside your opponent's head. Now, do I agree with him making racial comments? I don't agree with anybody making racial comments to get inside somebody's head. However, there are millions of dollars on the line, guaranteed and non-guaranteed, for these fighters, as well as reputation. And when things of that nature are piled up against people, some people will do any and everything that it takes to win, including going to that racial side. Do I believe that Conor McGregor is racist? No, I just believe that he was using that as a way to get under Floyd Mayweather's skin, as well as some of his other opponents. Now, some people will say the comments that he made at the end of the fight about fighting like a Mexican and things like that. From what I heard, it was a guy called in on the ESPN radio this morning, and he was an actual Latino guy, and he said that if you know Mexican fighters, they have a certain style, and that it's not a disrespectful thing. It's actually, a comment, and I'm pretty sure there'll be Latinos who will say the opposite, so, but that's what I feel. So you have two crowds of people rooting for this fight, those who are drawn in because of the racial tension in the U.S. and those who are true sports fans. Now, Did Floyd Mayweather fight how he normally fights? No, he did not. He's normally very defensive. In this fight, he was a lot more aggressive. He took a lot more shots. You have people cheering for Conor because Conor went 10 rounds. And the biggest thing that I'm hearing is that, well, he's not professional. He went 10 rounds with a professional all-time great. If you are a true student of the game, of the sport, of both boxing and MMA, then you will know that, and you watch Floyd's fights. Floyd allowed McGregor to go 10 rounds. A lot of Floyd's fights, and a lot of people attest to this, that he basically fills out his opponents for the first couple of rounds. It's just like in a football game. That first couple of drives, you're filling out your opponent. It's the same way in every sporting event. You're going to fill out your opponent. Now, that's going to take some time. It may take a little bit of time, may take a lot of time. But you are going to fill out your opponent. Regardless of what your game plan is going in, when you step into that ring, you're going to have to fill out your opponent. He also knew that McGregor had issues with conditioning. So what is the smart thing to do? Same thing Ali did. The rope-a-dope. Sit back and let them punch till they tire themselves out, then you attack. I think, in my personal opinion, that he rather felt him out for a couple of rounds and then finished the fight. For people saying that McGregor is non-professional, you have to understand this. This guy fights in the octagon. He knows how to take punches and kicks. So you can't just completely say, well, he's a amateur stepping into the boxing ring, because being a MMA fighter, you have some element of a lot of different fighting styles, including boxing. So I don't feel as lenient when it comes to that excuse, because he's taking punches in the MMA with no gloves, or with the little MMA, the UFC gloves, which are a lot lighter and offer a lot less protection than boxing gloves. And to that same credit, I say, for people talking that Floyd couldn't make it in the octagon one round, I say the same thing, because they talk about his punching power, but this is wearing boxing gloves, which offer a lot more protection than UFC gloves. So much so that if a boxer was to get into a fight outside of the boxing ring, that he could be pressed, they press charges, weapon charges, assault with a deadly weapon. Their hands are literally considered deadly weapons. And it's the same way for MMA fighters, And two, in the octagon, you would have to consider that Floyd would, somebody would have to get in close to him to be able to get him on the ground. And being as skilled of a boxer as he is, you're going to have to get past those punches, because being a skilled boxer going into the octagon, he is already better at boxing than those that are in the octagon, because that is his profession. One major fight that people tend to forget, that a highly skilled boxer type fighter, was Ronda Rousey. She lost to, who was it, Holly? Holly was a extremely skilled boxer, a boxer type in fighting, and she won in the octagon. Ronda Rousey tried to go to her fighting style, which was boxing, and she suffered a humongous upset. You see what I'm saying? So it's not, I'm not saying that he'd win a fight, but he definitely wouldn't. It wouldn't just be a pushover. If you're going to beat Floyd Mayweather in the octagon, it's not going to be head up punching. He's going to beat you there 100% of the time, more than likely. You're going to have to get him on the ground or something, But I digress. This fight was promoted. Both fighters were guaranteed millions of dollars. I think going into the fight, Conor was guaranteed 30, Floyd was guaranteed 100. Was this fight good for boxing? A lot of people say no, it wasn't, because, and then they use that excuse that I said, that McGregor, was a non-professional, got into the round, fought 10 rounds. But those who understand boxing know exactly what Floyd was doing inside of the ring. Number one, it would have went 12 rounds had he played to his fighting style. But he didn't. He played a completely different fighting style and allowed that fight to go 10 rounds. Now, I'm not saying he could have knocked him out in the first couple of rounds. No, no. But, he won that fight. He won the fight. Conor won a couple of rounds, but even if it had to win 12 rounds, Mayweather still would have won. Um, so I don't think that it was bad for boxing. I think that it was good for boxing. And I think that it was also good for MMA because now it opens the door for people to say, a boxer who's not as well known can make a name for himself to say, hey, let me go in the octagon and test this out. Or another guy who fights MMA says, I want to be the one that takes down a big time boxer. Where boxing is failing at is that they're not promoting their fighters. They're not promoting the younger guys coming up. There's a couple of guys that we know, but for the most part, you don't know a whole lot of boxers, whereas MMA, and people want to see knockouts. That's the truth of the matter. People want to see knockouts. When you turn on MMA, when you watch UFC, that's what draws people to it is they want to see knockouts. I think that a lot of people would have been better. Some people are fine with the way that McGregor fought, with the way Mayweather fought, but a lot of people are in agreement that they should have let the fight go on. But you have to take into consideration the person's health. Not only was McGregor tired, but, I think that Floyd actually went a little bit easy on him in that last round because he could have did some damage to him. That's just my personal belief. A lot of people are going to disagree with that. My thing is, look at this fight without any bias. Don't look at this fight with the fighters' personal history, Floyd's domestic abuse, Conor's racial remarks, and things of that nature. Don't look into that equation. Don't look into it as white or black. Don't look into that because a lot of people I just don't like Mayweather or I just don't like McGregor. Don't look at any of that. Look at this fight for what it is: an MMA fighter fighting a boxer in the boxing ring. So of course the boxer has the advantage. It'd be the same way if it was the opposite in the octagon. Look at this fight for what it is: a fight. Leave all of that others, because when you bring all that extra stuff in, then you're going to be biased towards one or the other. So you have to look at this for what it is. Because like I said, I would have been excited had McGregor knocked out Mayweather, because then we just got to witness one of the greatest upsets in sporting history. And we still got to witness sporting history in that he breaks Rocky's record. Mayweather breaks Rocky's record. So like I said, from a sporting guy, I was happy either way. But like I said, I digress. The fight to me, like I said, it did good and bad for both boxing and MMA. It did good for boxing in the sense that, for one night, everybody paid attention to boxing. But Dana White, and I think even Conor McGregor, both knew what was at stake here. And I think that it was brilliant marketing and promotion by them, because I think they knew that Conor wasn't going to beat Mayweather. I honestly, in my heart of hearts, believe that. Conor, I think he even knew that going in. That's why his guaranteed payout was so high. And that's why, they argued on even Undisputed with Skip and Shannon about, are MMA fighters going to start going over into boxing because it's a bigger payout? You see what I'm saying? I think that Dana White collaborated with Conor McGregor. He says he didn't want this fight to happen, but I think he did because, for that possibility, had he upset Mayweather. But even with that being the case, he took a chance to say, Dana White took a chance to say, yeah, let's make this happen, because if we can knock out or beat one of this era's greatest boxers, then that will solidify that MMA is greater than boxing. My personal opinion right now, the UFC is more popular than boxing. It shows even in the video game side. They're not making boxing games not because they can't, but because it's just not popular. However, EA Sports comes out with a rugby game. Now, they didn't come out with it in the States. It's overseas, but I digress. Why do you think they're not coming out with a tennis game? Because while tennis is popular to some, it's not popular to the majority. You see what I'm saying? We're ready for the next UFC to come out. Is Conor McGregor going to be on the cover of this one? You see what I'm saying? So it's very interesting. When you're looking at it from a business standpoint, you can see why the fight took place. You can see the agenda behind the fight and things of that nature. And when you're looking at the fight in itself, oh, well, Connor was talking a lot of trash. He's going to. Somebody's going to. There's always one. Was he confident in himself? I don't know, but he definitely made us believe that he was. I even told my wife yesterday, I said, I really believe that Mayweather is going to win simply because not because he's black, not because he's Mayweather, not because he's 49 and 0. I could give a good what about that. I don't care about any of that. I've said that Mayweather would win because of the fact that it is boxing and that is his profession. So of course he has the upper hand. That would be like a NBA player going into the NFL to play a football game. Some people say, well, LeBron James could play tight end. LeBron James, that would be a good analogy. Could LeBron James go toe to toe with some of the best in the NFL? You're going to automatically put the NFL over LeBron because of the fact that LeBron hasn't never laced up in a NFL setting. However, there is still a possibility that LeBron could dominate or even be successful in the NFL simply because of the fact that he is a professional athlete and he is training on a professional level. Being basketball, even, he's able to jump with the best of them and things of that nature. Same way with Conor McGregor. While he is not a boxer, he still possesses the skill necessary to be successful in the ring of boxing. You see what I'm saying? Because he's able to take punches. He's able to deliver punches. You see? So, all in all, the fight was It was where the fight succeeded was getting everybody's attention. Now, the comments are going to go on probably for a week and they'll dial down. There's going to be some out there who's going to make this into a racial thing. There's going to be some that's going to make this into a political thing. But y'all, let's keep it at what it is. It was an MMA fighter fighting a boxer. Two professionals in their own right squaring up in the ring. Mayweather didn't challenge McGregor. McGregor challenged Mayweather. So for people saying, well, Floyd get knocked out in the octagon, this and that, he not the one that challenged him. You see what I'm saying? And to put the nail in the coffin of all of this, the guy's 40 years old. And he was 2 years. It has been 2 years since his last fight. Not to mention, on the Colin Cowherd show, if I'm pronouncing his name right, Mayweather's own dad said that Mayweather's training was good enough. It wasn't great. And Colin Cowherd even tried to call him out on that so that I guess in the case that Conor McGregor won, he could turn around and say, well, Mayweather took this easy. He took it lightly. And a lot of analysts were saying this, that Mayweather wasn't taking this fight seriously. But Mayweather's own dad and trainer said his training was good. It wasn't great. It was good. He said he's trained well enough to win. So they even knew. They know, man. They know going in. They even knew, This guy was 2 years out, 40 years old, I mean, so at the end of the day, put Floyd in his prime and let's, put both of these fighters in their prime and we're looking at a totally different situation. That's more settled, But the fact that he did what he did at 40 years old after coming off from not fighting for 2 years, especially against a spotty fight with was it De La Hoya? No, Pacquiao. I'm tripping, y'all. The spotty fight with Pacquiao, I mean, you cannot knock Floyd Mayweather because you can't say that, well, he doesn't box. The art of boxing is people, when they think of fights, it's just like football. They want to see all offense, but defense wins championships. Everybody knows that in football. But the fans who don't know football, all they want to see is high scoring offenses. Same way in boxing. You don't really know the sport of boxing. Yeah, you're gonna want guys to just go in there and knock each other out. Hey, that's what you got the MMA for. In boxing, the defense, it's the same thing as football. Defense wins championships. And it's the same way in every sport. A good defense is what really wins you. If your defense is lacking, you're gonna get knocked out. This guy was able to do this for 49 straight fights. So you can't say he's not working hard. You have to give credit where credit is due. He didn't change up his game. He changed up his game for the last fight and still won. So for those who saying that, oh, Mayweather, he's a what in the ring and this and that, you get in the ring with him. Next time he fights, or have you ever betted against him? I don't know. And for those people who are saying that Conor can't fight, to his respect, this isn't the octagon. Yeah, he's gotten knocked out in the octagon. He's not undefeated by any means. But the guy is still a skilled fighter and a still respected fighter. And he's going to, even though he took this loss in the boxing ring, he's going to go back into the UFC with a better name for himself, with a higher level of respect for himself. And he, to my regard, has just become, in a sense, the Floyd Mayweather of the UFC, not in his ability or his record, but rather in his ability to promote. Because now there are people who didn't know McGregor before who knows the name McGregor. You see what I'm saying? Everybody knew Floyd Mayweather. Not a lot of people knew McGregor. They know him now. You see what I'm saying? That's my take on it. Leave your comments down in the comment section down below. That's all I got for right now. Till next time, y'all. And God.